individual rivalry in basketball, you and Larry.
Larry, you talk about us meeting 30 years ago. And now we played in front of probably 15, 16,000. Now on the Final Four, 72,000 people saw the game. It's really incredible.
And we, I mean, it was just two different styles. So I thought it was interesting that you had, Magic against Bird, because really they never really guarded each other, much. But just the fact that they were on the court was a rivalry because they wanted to beat each other.
I believe you against Larry Bird to this day was the biggest the biggest in history.
Well, Stephen A., I think because we were two big players in terms of 6'9", we would do anything to win. Our game was...
It was that if Larry Bird had been a black guy, he would have just been an average player.
Yeah, what do you think of that? That's what Dennis said. He says because he was white.
No.
You saying Larry Bird was good?
Sorry.
You don't agree?
I don't agree. Larry Bird wasn't good. He was great.
He was.
Boy, he can play, man. He turned it out. We played on a team in college in a tournament together. This is the first time I ever...
Gen Z might think Steph Curry and LeBron James wrote the blueprint for basketball, but trust me, that's only part of the story. Before either of them ever stepped onto an NBA court, two larger-than-life icons had already transformed the league into the most entertaining rivalry in sports. And what happened in the 1980s will leave you wondering how the NBA was ever the same again.
It's written with Bird versus Magic, Magic versus Bird, that whole thing. And it wasn't Indiana State versus Michigan State anymore. It was Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson.
You look at Boston, nobody looked at the Lakers and went like this, oh, they definitively better than Boston. And by the way, Magic Johnson won back-to-back. Bird never did that.
They talk about it every day, somewhere. If I go to a foreign country, Magic, what Magic? It's...
The last couple of days with Magic Johnson shooting the Capital One commercials. And every time I see him, I tell him thank you, because Magic Johnson and Larry Bird are the two most important figures in NBA.
They ain't number one, though. The greatest of all. Right here.
Okay.
Larry Bird versus Irvin Magic Johnson. It didn't start in the NBA, y'all. It started in college when Magic was at Michigan State with Kelser and the boys, okay? And Larry Bird, the hit from French Lick, was at Indiana State, averaging over 30 a game and doing great things that he was doing, all right? And then they come to the pros, and they rekindle that.
Larry Bird was the ultimate trash-talking sharpshooter, a cold-blooded competitor who played every possession like he had already solved the game before anyone else. Magic Johnson was the 6'9" superstar who smiled while dismantling defenses, making impossible plays look completely effortless. Their rivalry wasn't built on friendship, it was fueled by fierce competition. Yet neither legend could have reached the same heights without the other. And here's the twist that still sparks debates today. One of them is believed by many to owe the other a long overdue apology. So who truly deserves the crown? The answer is far more shocking than most fans realize, so stick around until the end, because you won't want to miss what comes next.
Larry Bird has an unbelievable night. Every shot he took, Irving is guarding him. And as every shot went in that Larry took, he went further back, and he kept on saying to Irving, aren't you going to guard me? Can't you do any better? I mean, he was the greatest soft-spoken trash talker I've ever met.
We thought I was a bad judge of talent because neither one of us got to play in the games. But I can remember going home and telling my older brother, I just seen the best basketball player I'm probably ever going to see in my life. And he started quizzing me, asked me questions. Well, how good is he? I said, well, he's 6'9", he can handle the ball like a 5'9" guard, he can shoot the ball, he can pass like he can't believe. He goes, oh, come on.
Well, let me say this, Jim, first. Historically, I think Magic and Bird rank higher collectively. In my list, and I think a lot of people's list, I've got LeBron highest at second best player of all time, but KD is 14, 15 in that range, At least at this point, we'll see.
By the end of the 1970s, the NBA was fighting for relevance, with empty seats, declining interest, and fans slowly turning their attention elsewhere. Attendance was slipping, excitement was fading, and the league felt more like a struggling local attraction than the global powerhouse we know today. But then everything changed. Two once-in-a-generation superstars arrived and completely flipped the script. They didn't just elevate the NBA, they rescued it, injecting life, drama, and unforgettable moments that forced the entire sports world to pay attention. And trust me, that's only where the story begins.
People don't understand. To answer your question, people look at this thing now where guys are making 30, 40, 50 million dollars. When I came in, David Stern's first year, the average salary was $200,000. Magic and Bird, those guys changed the entire trajectory of the NBA and made it what it is today. Because Magic, and I told him this story, I said, and I'm playing with Dr. J and Moses. I remember the first time Magic, when he made $1 million, we were going around high-fiving each other. We couldn't believe an NBA player made $1 million. That was Magic.
Rhythm. The shot, one step back, pick it up, the shot. Back and forth. He is like a machine, and the results are almost like a machine.
He ain't took out his top yet. I didn't see when he took out his top. I tell you, it's hard to shoot out the Bird just made you.
And here comes Bird back in a familiar position. So let's see if anybody can upset the world. And that means they'll.
You know, when I was in college one time, I was watching a game on TV. They had this home box office thing. And I turned on this game. They were playing against Russia. And I was watching Magic play, and I go, oh my God, that's the best player I've ever seen play, because I didn't follow basketball. And he was a sophomore at the time. So I remember telling a friend of mine, I said, they're going to win the NCAA championship this year. But we go all the way through undefeated, and there's Magic standing there. It's just like...
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson didn't simply dominate basketball. They completely changed how fans experienced the game. Every matchup between them felt like a blockbuster event, proving that NBA basketball could be just as dramatic and entertaining as any hit television show. Fans couldn't stop comparing the two because they represented total opposites in almost every way. And honestly, that's exactly what made their rivalry so unforgettable.
Actually, I've always said that I go by success, and he's won more championships, so I give him the nod.
Being very gentlemanly. Same question to you. Is Larry the better player?
I've always said that Larry was the better player.
Really?
Because he could do more, to shoot from the outside, all those type of things. To us, really, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what matters to me is that I played against him.
We all agree on this.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does anybody disagree with Bird Magic? Hey, I'll take a step. This changed the course of my life.
Wow.
Because I was a baseball player. Until these two dudes started playing in the 80s. I went to high school in 1980 as a freshman, had not played organized basketball.
Wow.
I was a baseball player.
Okay.
Watching these two teams and these two players, the way that changed the course of my life and what I want to do with my life. So that's number one, no question.
What was that for you?
It was everything, because it was just like you got Magic was like the black player who was great, and you had Bird was the white player who was great. And so it was just like a battle of, you know, who was the better the styles. Bird was slow, could shoot the jumper. Magic was fast, can pass. And it was just like, you know, this guy Bird, you know, him being a white player, because we always felt like, you know, this is a black sport, you know, and so you're seeing a guy like Bird coming in and dominate. And it was just like, whoa, you know.
Magic Johnson arrived in Los Angeles with an unforgettable smile, dazzling no-look passes, and a magnetic personality that fit Hollywood like it was made for him. Every time he stepped onto the floor, he played with pure joy, orchestrating the Lakers' offense so effortlessly that it felt like he was conducting a championship symphony. Larry Bird, meanwhile, walked into Boston with an icy expression, simple flannel shirts off the court, and a blue-collar mentality that made it seem like he'd been working long before the opening tip. He carried himself with a relentless toughness that perfectly matched the city's hard-working identity, and every possession reflected that mindset. One superstar became the face of sunshine, glamour, and the legendary Showtime era. The other embodied cold New England grit, relentless competitiveness, and a quiet intensity that earned him, at times, the nickname the Great White Hope. Together, their clash became much bigger than basketball. It turned into the ultimate East Coast versus West Coast showdown, captivating fans across America and changing the NBA forever.
Professional basketball's difficulties, which some say are compounded by a question of black and white.
The Great White Hope. What does that mean?
Well, it's very hard to say because there's a lot of great white players around it, and I just hope that I can just fit in as well as some of them that has fit in.
He ran away from that designation. He made it very clear, almost from day one, that he was not the Great White Hope.
A lot of the NBA hype, especially Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird, that is straight race relations. That's straight Larry Bird is the Great White Hope and Magic Johnson is this flashy black guy who's gonna come in, and now you're putting white against black, and the entire country is based off of that. America is built off of race relations, and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird exemplified that to the highest level.
What would you say is the second biggest rivalry in the NBA?
It's Lakers Celtics 1, and I don't know, you can have a pick of your second one.
Name me one.
You go Knicks and Celtics.
So why do the Knicks and the Celtics have a rivalry?
Is Mr. Magic Johnson, your friend, versus Mr. Larry Bird simply the best player rivalry of all time?
I think so. I mean, when you take a look at both these franchises, when Larry got obviously drafted by Boston, rejuvenized that Celtic-Laker rivalry because Magic's here, along with Cap. And those two guys were just totally different players from totally different spectrums of the world, basically, and they just had a different style, which I thought was...
Everything truly began with the unforgettable 1979 NCAA championship, where Magic Johnson and Michigan State faced Larry Bird and Indiana State in a game that basketball fans still talk about decades later. Magic's team came away with the victory, but that night introduced two future icons to the entire world and sparked one of the greatest rivalries in sports history. From that point forward, neither superstar stopped paying attention to the other's every move. Whenever Magic filled the stat sheet with another incredible triple-double, Bird seemed determined to respond the very next night with a breathtaking shooting performance. And if Bird buried a clutch game winner that had everyone talking, Magic answered with jaw-dropping no-look passes that made defenders look completely lost. They constantly challenged one another without even sharing the same court most nights, and that's the part many people overlook. That silent battle became the fuel that drove both players to elevate their games, turning an already legendary rivalry into something the basketball world had never seen before.
I'll tell you a little story. One game we played the Lakers in the Forum, and we was fortunate enough to win at the end. And we was coming out the tunnel. They had a tunnel where you go down underneath. We was coming out in the bus. There's a lot of fans around, and when we won games on the road, we tend to stay a little bit longer and celebrate, and especially in the Forum. We got to
change the whole league, and also too, every other year, the Lakers will win or the Celtics will win. Right. Lakers will win or the Celtics will win. So it was just great. And I'm glad that we came in together because I had somebody to measure myself to. Right. And say, hey, okay, he's great. I can't let him get too far ahead of me. I got to work hard because I want to stay.
What made this rivalry even more unforgettable was how completely opposite their personalities were. Magic Johnson was the heartbeat of every room, overflowing with confidence, energy, and a charisma that instantly pulled people in. Larry Bird, on the other hand, didn't need long speeches because one icy stare or one perfectly timed trash talk line could get inside an opponent's head faster than anything else. Magic played to electrify the arena, lifting everyone around him with his creativity, unselfishness, and infectious enthusiasm. Bird stepped onto the court with only one mission, to win, and every mistake seemed to fuel his competitive fire even more. Those total opposites created a rivalry that fans simply couldn't stop watching, and that's exactly why it still stands the test of time. One superstar made basketball feel like a masterpiece in motion. The other turned every game into a ruthless battle where skill, toughness, and pure determination decided everything.
Man, Larry Bird. And that we got this friendship right now. That's all that matters, because the fans are going to say, hey, Larry Bird was my man. Just like I run into a lot of Celtics fans. You know, I used to hate you. I get that all the time. Right? And so, but they say, I hated the Lakers, but why do we love Magic?
Yeah.
You know? And so, but what matters is that we're friends now. We can do so many things together. I still will hate him now. If we play checkers or basketball right now.
But when they were on the floor in the early 80s, Bird couldn't care less about Magic. Magic felt the same way about him. There's only a few guys that I see in the league today where there's some actual...
When it came to their games, Bird and Magic couldn't have been more different, and that's what made every comparison so fascinating. Larry Bird possessed a shooting touch that almost felt impossible, knocking down shots from spots most players wouldn't even dare to try. Somehow, he did it with that deliberate, unhurried release that gave defenders a split second to hope before the ball splashed through the net anyway. His basketball IQ was just as unbelievable, constantly reading plays before they unfolded and putting himself in the perfect position to expose every defensive mistake. Magic Johnson, meanwhile, completely redefined what a point guard could be at 6'9", and you won't believe how effortless he made it look. He controlled the game with extraordinary vision, delivering passes that seemed to appear out of nowhere while everyone else was still trying to figure out what had just happened. Those iconic no-look passes carved up defenses, creating easy scoring chances and leaving defenders frozen in disbelief. Then, when the Lakers got out in transition, Magic transformed every fast break into must-watch entertainment, making the offense flow with a rhythm that few teams in NBA history have ever matched.
At fourth, and Bird is anywhere from 6 to 10, 6 to 11, somewhere in that range. So I've got Magic and Bird historically as the higher-ranking duo. If it were 5-on-5, and you gave these two duos 3 similarly talented role players, I would lean toward picking Magic and Bird because I just think they made their teammates so much better. They both were incredible passers, both of them. So in a 5-on-5, I probably go with those two. But 2-on-2, I say LeBron and KD without any hesitation. and there's 2 major reasons. Defense and athleticism, which would be huge in a game of 2-on-2. LeBron was a great individual defender in his prime. KD is a good individual defender. Magic and Bird were good team defenders. They were smart, so they got a lot of steals and things like that. But neither one of them would be able to stay in front of LeBron and KD, and especially not LeBron. So LeBron would live at the rim. And KD, of course, you just can't stop him. We know that. On the other side, I'm not saying LeBron and KD could stop Magic and Bird, but they could make it tough on them. And that's all you do with great players. They would make it tougher on them to score than Bird and Magic would make it on LeBron and KD.
One thing Bird and Magic shared was an absolute hatred of losing. And in many ways, that drive burned even stronger than the joy of winning itself. They didn't just put up incredible numbers, they inspired everyone around them to perform at a higher level every single night. Magic ultimately collected more NBA championships, and the Lakers' star-studded roster perfectly complemented his exciting, fast-paced style of play. Every time the Celtics and Lakers faced off, it became far more than just another game. It was a must-watch event that fans circled on their calendars weeks in advance. Arenas were packed to capacity, television ratings skyrocketed, and the NBA suddenly found itself reaching an entirely new level of popularity. You won't believe how much those matchups changed the business of basketball, because the league started generating serious revenue thanks to the excitement they created. Without even trying to be marketing icons, Bird and Magic helped turn the NBA into a global attraction simply by competing at the highest level every time they stepped on the floor.
Very quiet and very humble that day, and I was looking out the window, and I happened to see Urban walking across the parking lot to his car. Of course, he had a number of people around him, And I just watched him. I could see the pain on his face, the look in his eyes that he was a beaten man that day. So if my thoughts in my head, my other teammates were talking, doing their own thing, I was just watching him. I said, suffer, baby, suffer.
Prior to that NCAA tournament, still was the most watched NCAA finals game in NCAA history. How much did you know about Larry Bird prior to that game?
Well, Shannon, the summer before, they had the WIT tournament.
Okay.
And they brought all the best college players together.
Okay.
To play against the world.
Okay.
And man, I see this guy, you know, blonde hair. I said, all right, let me see if he...
The craziest part of this entire story is that in the beginning, Bird and Magic genuinely couldn't stand each other. Neither of them wanted to exchange compliments or even appear friendly, because in their minds, showing respect too early felt like giving up an edge. Magic refused to hand Bird any extra confidence, while Bird acted as if Magic wasn't even worth acknowledging once the final buzzer sounded. That fierce competitive mindset produced some of the most unforgettable playoff battles the NBA has ever witnessed. Every time they met, they pushed themselves to the absolute limit, and with every showdown, their admiration for each other's greatness quietly grew. As the years passed, that bitter rivalry slowly transformed into something much deeper, especially after both legends walked away from the game. The hostility eventually gave way to a genuine friendship built on years of unforgettable battles and mutual respect. Some fans admired Bird's relentless toughness and blue-collar mentality, while others were captivated by Magic's charisma, creativity, and non-stop excitement. Together, they gave basketball the perfect balance of grit and entertainment, making the sport impossible to ignore. The NBA evolved from a league fighting for attention into one of the biggest cultural forces in sports. And when you really look back at that transformation, it's impossible to ignore one incredible truth. Two complete opposites ended up bringing out the very best in each other, and the entire basketball world benefited because of it.
People said, you played with the Celtics, and you know I hated you at that time. You know, I wanted Magic to win. I didn't want that damn Larry Bird to win. We had all these black players, but they looked at us because we had Larry Bird leading us as a team that was white.
Even today, basketball fans can't seem to agree on who truly deserves the edge, and that's exactly why this debate refuses to die. Magic Johnson finished with more championship rings, leading one of the most dominant Lakers dynasties the league has ever seen. Larry Bird, meanwhile, dazzled with unbelievable individual brilliance, controlling games in so many different ways that it often looked like he was thinking several moves ahead of everyone else on the floor. Magic completely redefined the point guard position, proving that a 6'9" floor general could control every aspect of the game instead of being limited by traditional expectations. Bird showed the basketball world that elite fundamentals, unmatched confidence, and relentless determination could overcome any athletic disadvantage and still produce one of the greatest careers in NBA history. Their rivalry delivered the kind of drama television executives could only dream of because every matchup felt like a blockbuster event. It became the ultimate showdown, East Coast toughness versus West Coast glamour, quiet intensity versus infectious charisma, and two superstars from different backgrounds competing on the biggest stage during a time when those differences drew significant public attention. Through all of that noise, both legends continued to produce unforgettable performances night after night without letting the spotlight distract them. And that's why fans who lived through those unforgettable Celtics-Lakers finals still talk about them with the same excitement today, as if those legendary battles happened only yesterday.
Really made it even more of a rivalry since it started in college. You know, Bird was the player of the year, but Magic won it. Then Magic gets his first title in the NBA. Now they see each other in '84. Now it's like, you know, Bird has a chance to get his revenge. So it was like all kind of subplots with this rivalry just throughout the whole '80s decade. And it was just like, you know, Whose side are you on?
Every time Bird and Magic shared the court, fans got a perfect mix of drama, elite talent, and unforgettable moments that became part of NBA history. Magic's breathtaking passes and Bird's clutch shooting set a standard that generations of players have spent years trying to match. Their journey wasn't just about basketball, it was also about how much they grew as people over the course of their careers. The same two competitors who once refused to acknowledge each other eventually found themselves laughing together and sharing stories like lifelong friends. That's what makes this rivalry so special, because it proves that the fiercest competition can sometimes build the strongest respect and the deepest bonds. By constantly challenging one another, they reached levels of greatness that neither may have achieved on his own. They didn't just elevate the game, they made basketball feel exciting, fashionable, and impossible to ignore. Kids growing up throughout the 1980s dreamed of becoming the next Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, and that inspiration quickly spread far beyond the United States. The NBA evolved into a global entertainment powerhouse alongside being a world-class sports league, opening the door for international stars, worldwide audiences, and billion-dollar business opportunities that continue to shape the game today.
I've never seen anything like Magic and Bird this side of Michael Jordan. And to Chris's point, I have Magic second on my all-time list. I have Larry 8th on my all-time list. I've got LeBron 9th, and I have yet to rank KD yet because KD hasn't qualified for a top 20 ranking just yet. He will at some.
It's hard to imagine where the NBA would be today without the legendary rivalry between Bird and Magic, because there's a real argument that the league might never have reached the global stage it enjoys now. Larry Bird's shooting ability would still be considered elite in today's game, and that's saying something considering how much basketball has evolved. He was knocking down deep shots long before the three-pointer became the centerpiece of modern offenses. His flawless footwork, incredible balance, and uncanny ability to create separation allowed him to make shots that looked impossible seem almost effortless. Players with size had handled the ball before, but nobody transformed the point guard position with the same style, creativity, and consistent success that Magic Johnson brought to the court. Their mental and physical toughness was just as remarkable as their incredible talent. Bird battled through injuries that would likely keep many modern players off the floor, yet he continued to produce at an elite level whenever his team needed him. Magic, meanwhile, inspired everyone around him through relentless energy, selfless leadership, and an unshakable commitment to making his teammates better, even when opponents tried everything they could to wear him down.
This guy is going to be a nag or a thorn in my side for a long time. I was so emotionally drained. I never felt like that after playing anybody. And so I knew that this was going to happen for a long time.
Both Bird and Magic understood that talent alone was never enough to build a championship. Real greatness demanded mental toughness, relentless confidence, and the willingness to fight through every challenge, no matter how difficult the moment became. That winning mindset spread throughout their locker rooms, raising the standard for everyone who wore a Celtics or Lakers jersey. Boston and Los Angeles quickly became the places where elite competitors wanted to play, because excellence wasn't just expected, it was the culture. And here's the part a lot of newer fans overlook. Sometimes people talk as if basketball only became exciting with today's superstars, when Bird and Magic helped create the blueprint that so many modern players still follow. They didn't simply compete at the highest level, they completely transformed the sport. In doing so, they changed the NBA forever and made sure the entire world was watching every step of the way.
When we talk about overwhelming intangibles, I'm talking about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. And when we're talking about defense, I'm going to remind you, even this would work in 2-on-2. This would manifest itself. Magic Johnson led the whole league in steals twice. Larry Bird 4 times led the whole league, the whole NBA in defensive win shares. We know what Larry can do on offense. And listen, when Magic wants to score the basketball, he would just figure out how to score the basketball. Remember what he did for...
What makes their story even more incredible is what happened after their playing careers came to an end. The same two superstars who spent years battling for basketball supremacy eventually celebrated each other's success, shared unforgettable memories, and laughed about experiences that only they could truly appreciate. That full-circle journey added another powerful chapter to an already legendary rivalry. They went from refusing to show one another even the slightest hint of respect on the court to becoming lifelong friends, bonded by years of unforgettable competition. Magic delivered breathtaking entertainment, championship success, and a larger-than-life personality that captivated the basketball world. Bird brought ruthless efficiency, unmatched fundamentals, and an all-around skill set that made him a nightmare for opponents in every phase of the game. Both styles proved they could win at the highest level, and each left an unforgettable legacy that continues to influence basketball today. In the end, the NBA didn't just benefit from having Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, it needed both of them at exactly the right moment. Together, they reshaped the league, inspired generations of future stars, and helped build the modern NBA that millions of fans around the world continue to enjoy today.
The All-Star game is what it is because there is no real disdain for guys. That's why the competitiveness isn't there. Contrary to popular belief, Bird and Magic did not like each other. They developed that respect later on.
For a long time, they did not like each other. Yeah,
so you guys know, those dudes were not cool like that. It wasn't when they saw each other, it was awesome. No, it was later on, mid to late 80s, when you get to 87, 88, where now there's a...
The statistics tell the story just as clearly as the highlight reels. Multiple MVP awards, multiple NBA championships, countless finals appearances, and a collection of honors that permanently cemented both legends among basketball's all-time greatest players. They controlled an entire era so completely that every other team was forced to elevate its level just to have a chance of competing. Opponents spent countless hours studying their habits and game plans, yet preparation can only take you so far when facing competitors driven by that kind of relentless desire to win. Their teammates also thrived alongside them, with many producing the best basketball of their careers under Bird's and Magic's leadership. In many ways, the entire NBA became stronger because these two raised the standard of excellence to a level nobody could afford to ignore. One was the electrifying showman, the other the silent assassin. Yet together, they created one of the greatest rivalries the sports world has ever witnessed, while constantly trying to defeat one another. That's the incredible contradiction that still makes their story so fascinating decades later. Even now, basketball fans continue debating who was truly greater, rewatching their unforgettable moments and imagining how unstoppable they might have been if fate had ever placed them on the same team instead of opposite sidelines.
Season for some reason. I don't know why they scheduled that. By the fourth game, there was an all-out brawl.
They call this one of the greatest rivalries in all of sport, the Celtics and the Lakers. And if that is true, it is the most one-sided rivalry in all of sports. 8 times these two have met for the NBA championship, and 8 times the Celtics.
When you really look back at NBA history, it's hard to imagine the league becoming what it is today without Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They didn't just elevate professional basketball, they helped pull it out of a difficult era and transformed it into a global showcase of elite competition and unforgettable entertainment. Their contrasting styles, unforgettable battles, personal growth, and eventual friendship created a legacy that reaches far beyond championships and statistics. They proved that there isn't just one formula for greatness, because two completely different approaches can both lead to the top. That's why every new generation of basketball fans eventually finds its way back to their story, because truly legendary rivalries never lose their impact. They didn't simply live up to the icons who came before them. They raised the bar so high that nearly every superstar since has been measured against a standard they created.